What if certain social gatherings were secretly draining your energy, affecting your health, and even putting you at risk without you realizing it? Many seniors attend these events out of habit, unaware of the hidden toll they take. But once you know what to avoid, you can protect your well-being and reclaim your happiness. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal might change the way you think about socializing forever. Have you ever walked away from a social gathering feeling completely drained? Maybe a party left you exhausted, a family event stirred up old tensions, or a so-called friendly meetup turned into a high-pressure sales pitch. Instead of feeling happy and connected, you ended up overwhelmed, frustrated, or even regretting that you went at all. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many seniors find themselves stuck in social situations that bring more stress than joy. But why does this happen? And more importantly, how can you avoid these energy-draining events without guilt? Today, we're going to break it all down. I'll reveal which gatherings could be secretly harming your well-being, and trust me, some of these will shock you. But before we get to the list, let's first understand why certain social events can take such a toll on your health, your mood, and even your financial security. Have you ever left a gathering feeling worse than when you arrived? Maybe drained, pressured, or just off? It's not by accident. Some events are designed to wear you down, manipulate your emotions, or even take advantage of you. The tricky part? They often seem completely normal. But once you spot the red flags, you'll never look at these gatherings the same way again. In just a moment, I'll reveal 7 social events that could be secretly harming your well-being. Some of these might shock you, but knowing them could save you time, energy, and even money. Stay with me, let's dive in. Have you ever gone to a gathering, not because you wanted to, but because you felt like you had to? Maybe it was a distant cousin's birthday, a club meeting you lost interest in, or a neighbor's event you couldn't find an excuse to skip. You show up, make small talk, smile politely, but inside, you're drained, waiting for the right moment to leave. The truth is, obligation-based gatherings can take a serious toll. Instead of feeling energized by good company, you walk away exhausted, wishing you had stayed home. But why do so many seniors keep going to these events? Guilt, fear of disappointing others, worry that saying no will make you seem rude. But here's something to think about: if attending an event leaves you feeling worse, is it really worth it? At this stage in life, your time and energy are more valuable than ever. Every hour spent at an unwanted gathering is an hour taken away from doing what you truly enjoy. Now, that doesn't mean cutting off social ties. It just means making a shift. Instead of forcing yourself into draining situations, focus on gatherings that actually bring you happiness. When an invitation comes, ask yourself, do I truly want to go? If the answer isn't a clear yes, maybe it's time to politely decline. So tell me, have you ever gone to an event out of pure obligation? If so, drop a yes in the comments. And if you've mastered the art of saying no, type freedom below. I'd love to know how you do it. Avoiding obligation-based gatherings is a huge step toward protecting your time and energy. But what about events that overwhelm you before you even arrive? Let's talk about them next. Big crowds, loud music, non-stop chattersome events are packed with energy. But for many seniors, they're also packed with stress. Have you ever attended a large gathering only to feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, or just plain exhausted? The truth is, as we age, our tolerance for noise, chaos, and overstimulation often changes. What once felt exciting can now feel draining. Crowded reunions, booming concerts, packed parties — these environments can spike anxiety, make conversations difficult, and leave you mentally and physically exhausted. And if you have hearing challenges, it's even worse. Trying to keep up with conversations in a loud room can feel like an impossible task, leaving you frustrated and disconnected. But here's the thing. Just because an event is popular doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. There's no rule saying socializing has to be loud and exhausting. Smaller, more relaxed gatherings can be just as fulfilling without the stress. So, what's your ideal social gathering? A quiet dinner with close friends? A peaceful morning coffee meetup? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear what brings you joy. Big, noisy events can be exhausting. But sometimes the most draining gatherings aren't the loud ones, they're the ones that come with emotional baggage. Let's discuss why some family reunions can be more stressful than their work. Family gatherings are supposed to bring people closer, but let's be honest, not all of them do. Have you ever left a family event feeling drained, frustrated, or even hurt? Maybe it's the same old arguments, the subtle or not so subtle criticism, or the tension that never seems to go away. For many seniors, family reunions are filled with expectations. You're supposed to show up, smile, and pretend everything is fine even if the atmosphere is anything but. But here's the truth. Just because you're related to someone doesn't mean you have to tolerate negativity. If a gathering constantly leaves you feeling worse instead of better, it's okay to set boundaries. Some family members bring warmth and laughter. Others bring guilt, pressure, or even conflict. And if attending means enduring unnecessary stress, you have every right to say no. Choosing peace over obligation isn't selfish, it's self-care. So be honest, have you ever left a family event feeling worse than when you arrived? Type ME in the comments if you've been there. And if you've learned how to handle these situations, share your best tip below. I'd love to hear it. Toxic family gatherings can leave you emotionally exhausted. But what about gatherings that don't just drain your emotions, they weigh down your entire mindset about life? Funerals of distant acquaintances can do just that. Let's explore why funerals are meant to be a time of mourning and remembrance. But have you ever felt obligated to attend a service for someone you barely knew? Maybe it was a distant relative, a former co-worker, or a neighbor you only spoke to once or twice. You show up out of respect, but instead of feeling closure, you leave feeling emotionally drained. Grief is heavy, even when it's not personal. Attending too many funerals, especially for people you weren't close with, can take a toll on your mental well-being. It's a constant reminder of loss, and over time, it can weigh you down more than you realize. Of course, honoring someone's memory is important, but that doesn't mean you have to be present at every service. There are other ways to show respect: sending a kind message to the family, making a small donation in their name, or simply taking a moment of quiet reflection on your own. So, what do you think? Do you feel pressure to attend funerals, even when you don't really want to? Type yes in the comments if this resonates with you. And if you found a meaningful way to honor loved ones without always attending services, share it below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever gone to a gathering expecting a fun time, only to realize it's costing you way more than you planned? Maybe it's a birthday dinner where everyone splits the bill even though you barely ate. Or a casual get-together that somehow turns into a group gift-buying situation. Or maybe it's an activity that seemed affordable until all the little extras started adding up. These kinds of events may not seem like a big deal, but over time, they can take a serious toll on your finances. The pressure to chip in, buy a ticket, or go along with an expensive plan can leave you spending money you never intended to. And let's be real, saying no in the moment can be uncomfortable. No one wants to be the one person who refuses to pitch in. But here's the truth. You don't need to spend money to enjoy good company. A great gathering isn't about how much you spend, it's about the people you're with. If a social event consistently pressures you into spending beyond your comfort level, it might be time to rethink how and where you socialize. So, be honest, have you ever felt pressured into spending money at a gathering? Type yes in the comments if this has happened to you. And if you've found a way to set financial boundaries while still staying social, share your strategy below. I'd love to hear it. Have you ever attended an event that completely threw off your day? Maybe it was a late-night party that left you exhausted the next morning, or a midday gathering that disrupted your meals, medications, or exercise routine. At first, it might not seem like a big deal, but over time, these disruptions can take a toll on your health and well-being. As we age, consistency becomes more important. Your sleep schedule, your eating habits, even your daily walks, these small routines keep you feeling your best. But when social events force you to skip meals, miss your evening wind-down, or push your limits physically, they stop being enjoyable and start becoming stressful. The truth is, not every invitation needs a yes. If an event disrupts your well-being, it's okay to prioritize yourself. Plan gatherings that fit your schedule, not the other way around. Choose events that align with your energy levels rather than drain them. So tell me, have you ever attended a gathering that threw off your entire routine? Type yes if this has happened to you, or balance if you've learned how to manage it. Some gatherings are meant to bring back memories, but not all memories are pleasant. Have you ever attended an event that stirred up past regrets, reopened old wounds, or reminded you of a time in your life you'd rather not dwell on? Maybe it was a school reunion that brought back feelings of comparison, a family gathering that resurfaced old conflicts, or a memorial service that left you feeling emotionally drained for days. While nostalgia can be a beautiful thing, certain events force us to relive moments we've already moved on from. Instead of feeling joyful, you leave feeling unsettled, questioning past choices, or carrying emotions you thought you had let go of. The truth is, you don't owe your past a visit if it disrupts your peace. Not every gathering needs your presence, especially if it brings back feelings that no longer serve you. It's okay to choose the present over the past, to surround yourself with people and events that uplift you rather than pull you backward. So be honest, have you ever attended a gathering that left you feeling worse because of the memories it brought up? Type me in the comments if you've experienced this, or peace if you've learned to let go of the past and focus on the present. Have you ever attended an event where it felt like you weren't really there? Maybe the conversations circled around younger people, no one really asked for your opinion, or you felt like just a background presence rather than a valued guest. It's frustrating, isn't it? Being in a room full of people but still feeling unseen. As we get older, some social circles change. At certain gatherings, seniors can be overlooked, dismissed, or treated as if their experiences don't matter. Maybe it's a family event where no one listens to you, a group meetup where the focus is on the younger crowd, or a party where you feel out of place. And after a while, these moments don't just feel isolating, they make you wonder if it's even worth showing up at all. But here's the truth. You deserve to be in spaces where you're heard, valued, and respected. The best social gatherings are the ones where you feel connected, engaged, and genuinely enjoyed by those around you. If an event consistently makes you feel ignored, maybe it's time to find gatherings that truly appreciate you. So tell me, have you ever felt invisible at a social event? Type yes if this has happened to you, or value if you found a way to surround yourself with the right people. Have you ever been in a conversation where you felt like you were talking, but no one was really listening? Maybe you started sharing a story at a family gathering, only to be interrupted or brushed aside. Or at a group event, you notice people talking over you, changing the subject mid-sentence, or simply nodding politely but not actually engaging with what you were saying. It's frustrating, isn't it? You've lived a lifetime full of experiences, knowledge, and wisdom, yet sometimes it feels like people assume you have nothing important to add. It's not always intentional, but the message is clear. You're not the center of attention anymore, and that can feel isolating. Even worse, in today's fast-paced world, conversations often revolve around trends, technology, or social media, things that might not interest you. When you try to contribute, you might hear dismissive phrases like, "Things are different now," or "You wouldn't understand." Suddenly, instead of feeling included, you feel outdated, like your words don't carry the same weight they used to. But here's the truth, your voice matters. You shouldn't have to fight to be heard. And you definitely shouldn't feel like your stories and opinions don't belong. The right people will value your words, respect your experiences, and actually listen when you speak. If a gathering consistently makes you feel invisible, maybe it's time to rethink where you spend your energy. So here's a challenge for you: pay attention to how people react the next time you speak at a gathering. Are they truly engaged or just waiting for their turn to talk? And more importantly, how does it make you feel? Tell me, have you ever felt unheard at a social event? Type ME in the comments if this has happened to you, or My Voice Matters if you're choosing to surround yourself with people who truly listen. Have you ever been at a gathering where you suddenly felt out of place, like you didn't quite fit in anymore? Maybe it was a family dinner where people laughed at your old-fashioned opinions, a tech-heavy conversation where you struggled to keep up, or a social event where you felt judged for moving a little slower or forgetting a name. It's an awful feeling. One moment you're enjoying yourself, and the next you feel small, awkward, or even embarrassed. Maybe someone corrects you like a child, jokes about your age, or dismisses your experiences as outdated. It might not even be intentional, but it stings. And worst of all, it can make you hesitate before speaking up again. But here's the truth: you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Your experiences, your knowledge, and your presence matter. If a gathering makes you feel self-conscious or less than who you are, maybe it's time to rethink where you spend your energy. Surround yourself with people who respect you, conversations that make you feel included, and spaces where you can be yourself without feeling embarrassed. So tell me, have you ever felt out of place at a gathering? Type yes if this has happened to you, or confidence if you're choosing to embrace who you are, no matter where you are. Let me tell you about Joe, a 72-year-old retiree who spent years feeling like he had to say yes to every invitation. Birthdays, reunions, community events, went to them all. On the surface, it looked like he had an active social life, but deep down, he felt exhausted. The turning point came after a high-pressure sales gathering. Joe had been invited to a free lunch, only to be stuck in a room full of aggressive sales pitches for expensive health products. The pressure was overwhelming, and before he knew it, he had spent hundreds of dollars on something he didn't even need. That day, he realized something: wasn't attending these events for himself. He was going because he felt obligated. That's when Joe made a change. He stopped saying yes out of guilt. He started prioritizing the gatherings that truly brought him joy: small dinners with real friends, casual walks in the park, and hobby groups that made him feel connected. And guess what? His stress melted away. He felt lighter, happier, and more in control of his time. So, does Joe's story sound familiar? Have you ever found yourself attending events out of obligation rather than enjoyment? Type ME in the comments if you relate, or freedom if you've learned to say no and protect your time. So, here's the truth: not all social gatherings are good for you. Some leave you feeling energized and fulfilled, while others drain your energy, your emotions, and even your wallet. The key is knowing the difference and giving yourself permission to say no. You don't owe anyone your time. If an event makes you feel pressured, exhausted, or uncomfortable, you have every right to decline. Protecting your well-being isn't selfish, it's necessary. Life is too short to spend time in places that don't bring you joy. Instead, focus on gatherings that truly enrich your life. Choose the people who lift you up, the activities that make you happy, and the moments that leave you feeling better, not worse. Because at the end of the day, your happiness matters. So, which of these gatherings do you think is the hardest to say no to? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these gatherings do you think is the hardest to say no to? Is it family events, high-pressure sales meetings, or something else entirely? Type your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video gave you something to think about, tap the like button. It helps spread this message to others who need to hear it. Remember, Your time is valuable, and your happiness matters. The more we talk about these things, the easier it becomes to make choices that truly serve us. So, let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts below.